Soy una ballena de color azul, mi espalda sopla y tú ves esa fuente de agua limpia aún. Nuestra casa abierta era el ancho mar, viajábamos en paz, sin manchas de petróleo que evitar. Busco un sitio puro donde descansar, no hay muchas como yo, me tengo que cuidar de ti. Nubes blancas, cielo transparente, y el humano compartiendo con otros. Un sueño que quizás ya no regrese, pues ya es tarde para todos nosotros. Soy el cóndor majestuoso del Perú, mi cuello gira y tú me miras con ojos de luz. Busco un sitio alto donde recordar que hubo un tiempo mejor, pues como yo no quedan más. Si tus hijos te preguntan cómo fui, no sé qué les dirás, me tuve que alejar de ti. Cordilleras blancas dominando todo ser que se alimenta del río, hombres en aldeas cultivando, sin decirle al campo dame lo que es mío. Si tu nieto te pregunta ¿qué hiciste con el amigo Gavilán? Estás equivocado, no sabes dónde vas. Guanacos, osos, pandas, renos, águilas, delfines y todo lo demás. Estás equivocado, no sabes dónde vas. Estás equivocado, no sabes dónde vas. No sabes dónde vas. Un espíritu ronda por la selva llorando lo que fue el jaguar. Estás equivocado, no sabes dónde vas. Bienvenido al mundo del hombre construido con detergentes y también con alquitrán. Soy una ballena de color azul, mi espalda sopla y tú ves esa fuente de agua limpia.
Nacimos y muchas veces por amor morimos. Sé que tu corazón no es para mí. Sin dormir, por ti y una triste expresión solo queda en mí. Y aunque ayer te vi, menté al decir que en estos días no pensé en ti. Solo queda amor.
Welcome, good afternoon. Welcome to H5C in your community. This is Liz Ramos with Authentic Lifestyle Designs, member of the Hispanic Chamber, and I'm super excited to be here today with our guest. Today, Sarah, I'm going to do really well. Sarah Skaronsky.
That's right.
Yay for me. Sarah is with EOS HR, and I'm super excited to have Sarah here as a guest today because you're going to have an awesome opportunity to benefit from the business education series that we host on a monthly basis. And Sarah is going to be the speaker. She has a human resources consulting company, and we'll tell you more about that to have her here with us. And we have a lot of topics that will help all small business owners around HR services and will be about. But anyhow, how was your weekend? It's Tuesday already.
I know, it was beautiful.
Which mountains?
Up near Yosemite. My family lives up there.
Okay, that's awesome. Sweet. Well, can you tell I have a little bit of a, I feel like it's Monday. I was on vacation. Very nice. But I did get in late last night, Monday. So today really feels like Monday, where usually it feels like the weekend was a long time ago. So we have a lot of amazing things, her business and in general what small business owners can do to proactively structure their business correctly around topics of human resources and employees, which are the key piece of the puzzle, and connect with other business owners and network and apply a lot of what we'll be talking about today. All right. What might have happened in another year today? So, are you a history buff, Sarah, by chance?
Not super,
okay.
but
that's okay.
Find it interesting, but I don't know them all off the top of my head.
Well, I'm not. So I enjoy pulling up something because of the show. So thanks to our president of the chamber, I get to look up something that I'm like, oh, cool, and pick something. A day when President Woodrow Wilson spoke in favor of female suffrage. Even though it didn't, he really raised his voice in terms of kind of evaluating or reflecting on having a lukewarm attitude, right? When people are lukewarm versus having a passion for what they do. His first term, he didn't do anything to move that forward. But in the second term, or towards the end, on a hunger strike to move the cause forward. So when he learned that the women were arrested and they were being forced attention, and I love a quote that he shared in his address. Shall we admit them only to a partnership of suffering and sacrifice and toil, and not to a partnership of privilege and right? So it's like, but didn't have the privilege or the right to vote. So I thought that was interesting. Any thoughts or comments on
about this? When I was reading this earlier, that now we have women who are potentially running the country, and how far we have to go yet. Yeah,
it's true. So about 100 years. Wow, 100 years.
Yeah.
In the past, this is on the President Woodrow Wilson, and speaking in favor of a particular topic, but the disposition or the willing, you all know me being direct, right? As politicians, they had no trouble being direct and saying, I thought that was interesting, just in action for the things that we, just in general, it was a reflection for me of what actions do we take
versus sitting back and waiting for somebody else to take care of it.
I think a takeaway reflection for me, I was talking to Sarah right before the show started about I disconnect, I put my out of office on, and I'm gone once I go, even if
door closes.
Right? Yeah. But that's a big thing with a work-life balance, right? As a coach, as a business coach, that's one of the business, and still
as a business owner, but also to your employees, and making sure that
you have a team, and it starts with ourselves, right? What kind of culture, whatever we do with ourselves, whatever culture we're setting with our employees, and it's about balance. To my lesson from a vacation, to have my on and off times with the business and create I call it harmony. In my day, it has to be perfect, but if you kind of look at with the different areas of your life that are important.
Right. Yeah. I heard somebody equate it to you had to keep all the plates spinning, and you couldn't keep them, you need to run back and give that one, kind of speaking to your harmony. It's not always having every honest.
Yeah, absolutely. Gotta run on that side. So, what kind of that we have today, or if you're thinking of bringing, we are wrapping up third quarter. Hopefully you're reviewing what you've accomplished 2015 already. So good topics. Commercial break. We're going to dive into some small business tips. See you in a few minutes.
La gama de posibilidades que te ofrece, que celebra 50 años de transformar vidas y comunidades.
Jurídicos, salud, psicología o tus estudios de posgrado. Tenemos becas y ayuda. Contamos con asesores de admisión que hablan español. disponibles para guiarle a través del proceso.
.edu 1-800-696-5358. Nos especializamos en todas las áreas del derecho migratorio. En el país solo hay una cosa por hacer. Llama al 4777-4446 www.pblawyers.com. Son 777-4445. Con oficinas en San José, Santa Ucaya y Sacramento.
Are you in deportation proceedings? Do you have a friend in jail for deportation? If the answer is yes, contact Karosky, Purvis, and Vogue at www.kpblawyers.com.
If you were ever a victim of domestic violence, robbery,
Contact Karosky, Purvis, 45 or
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to H5C in your community. My name is Liz Ramos with Authentic Lifestyle Design because we have an awesome guest with us today, Sarah. Sarah, oh, I don't want to mess it up. Wait. Let's see if I can be consistent. Skoronsky.
That's right.
Yay for me again.
Sound it out.
Hey, it's important. It's important to make. And we're going to talk to her more about her business and what she does in a chamber. We are offering the business education series with that. And the things we're going to talk about in this segment with business tips. So this week we are bringing you, so whether you already have an employee, about bringing on an employee sometime in the near future, or sometimes I would even sometimes we use vendors that we collaborate with, type of service for you. And so different levels of partnership where they're good general. This article comes to us from, always got to make sure to give credit to small business human resources tips for owners. And that we're talking about this topic. I agree. You can tell me if we're right on or not, but the topic of human resources is one where
They do. They really do. It's I understand that once you have an employee relationship between the employee and the employer, makes and breaks
and I think that speaks to a lot of the culture that you have as a business. Do you have to put that out, or are you proactive in building at least equally and how you provide the operations of your business, anything else if you want to have a successful business.
And laws that come into play if you choose to employ people in California or you choose to have contractors in California, your company in trouble. And
proactive is, there comes with a level of responsibilities and the excuse of the governing bodies and state agencies and things that deal with employment. A perfect, great cornerstone from before you have employees, before they even, so before you even have an employee, or even if you already have one. I love that this speaks to the fact that my sisters look at some things and it's always apparent to me when a business is gives very little.
2-sentence line on Craigslist that says, we need
exactly what the message is, because so the article actually speaks to the fact that if you don't have to get qualified, somebody in the door, really important to start making a list. I work with clients and they're thinking, where can I it's as easy as times we're the only ones to do it. But when we think, well, it'll start clumping together to, okay, do I need a marketing person? Do I need a sales? You want to make sure that you have daily tasks to be specific. What are the skills that are required for a particular?
The tactical skills and the specific job duties it's like, and that goes along with developing the culture for your company and how you want that person to work within the company. So going organization, then you want somebody who's going to enjoy that and who is very specific about how she wanted the person who joins the company to be there. And so those non-tangible things are also it for your job as well.
The job description has its purpose. You want to transmit some of what the culture is like for your organization, as well as who would be a right fit. I'll admit there were times my quickest turnaround. The company, the employer, you're obviously trying to seek out the best qualified candidate for your job, and your company to see is it a match for me. So of a longer lasting fit or stay that you're going to have up really quickly in my job experience of saying this was not at all. So a list, and you could always development of employees. So once you already have a job description, we in terms of activities that you can do with them when we come back from.
La gama de posibilidades que te ofrece, que celebra 50 años.
Jurídicos, salud pública, periodismo y psicología, o tus estudios de posgrado. Tenemos becas y ayuda. Contamos con asesores de admisión que hablan español disponibles para guiarle a través del proceso de
.edu o 1-800-696-5358. Nos especializamos en todas las áreas del derecho migratorio. ¿Quieres conseguir una cosa por hacer? Llama al 415-777-4445. Llama al 415-777-4445. Con oficina en Walnut Creek, Santa Rosa, Napa, Ucaya y Sacramento.
If the answer is yes, we will find the best. Contact Kurosky, Purvis, and Vogue at 415-777-444lawyers.com.
Welcome back to H5C in your community. Again, this is Liz Ramos, and we have Sarah Skoronsky from EO's HR Consulting with us today about HR topics. Sarah being an HR on the topic of job descriptions, so I promise we will. Wow. So a few things for them. It can be individual by time into actually developing them. It's a benefit. People really going beyond maybe from the employees to know that there's a path for me beyond the job that I'm in right now.
Right. If they're not doing some solo business, what you need done and how you need it done, and giving them consistent feedback and developing them so that.
Very impressed this going forward, because if you develop one employee to hire someone from outside your culture that doesn't understand your business as thoroughly as someone that create a collaborative spirit. I love this. You all hear me say all the time that we all have that each team member brings to the table, and how can you create collaboration, have a higher teamwork, have more success than those that don't. All right. And really important to the culture that you're establishing in your company, involve employees in planning. Or no one can do it as it's kind of like, I have to let work themselves. They have so much great feedback about what can be improved and what you can incorporate in the business.
You don't see that path that you were on.
To your business. All right. So we wanted to fly through those because we got guest, Sarah. And so she is a human resources professional with several Bay Area businesses. Who may not be ready yet for a full-time HR executive staff, but are in need of access to knowledge required by an employer. All the labyrinth while working within their company structure and changing requirements. She helps business owners bridge the corporate initiatives with the employees' needs. Or services, or you need assistance, maybe starting your employment practices compliantly, can help you. Welcome, Sarah.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we EOS HR and what that.
And she brings the hope of a brand new day. I was creating a new day for myself, bring that hope of a new day of employment laws and regulations and problems, but you can create.
Well, I love it. I love that it integrates both your. Tell us a little bit about the types of companies that you work with.
So I mainly work with small businesses, a lot of people that are moving from the solopreneur to having employees, or they can work with up to 100 employees if they don't have a full-time, for some more strategic help. So I help anywhere up until they probably really need.
Growing your team strategically, sometimes more administrative support, maybe getting the payroll done and help with.
I can come in.
the types of projects that you help your clients with.
Program for new employers that outlines all of the compliance related issues around hiring, important, and writing handbooks and going through and creating the policies that are required by law, and then the things employees, if you're offering them, and also working with the employers on performance management. How are they, why, and how are they going to communicate that to the employees to keep them motivated, as we were talking about, of building a good atmosphere for them to work in.
It all starts with clear communication, as you're saying, right? Being clear for yourself, how you're going to track things. Right. I think it could create and kind of erode a lot of the relationship, but whether not. And so you mentioned compliance, and then you mentioned some of kind of what's important to your company. And when we were reading your bio here, I think that cover both what's required, or the compliance piece, as well as what is the unique structure.
Something that I like to bring, because the companies I've worked for have been in that growth mode, and they have been. As a small business owner, you don't want to get bogged down by the, well, you can or you can't do, to make sure that I understand what their end goal is and find a way. Well, what's your end result? What is it that you want? And find a way to navigate there without risk or anything like that that's going to throw up red flags with the government.
So I love that. And it wasn't necessarily to invest all of it managing all the laws. No. And in California, and I don't think territory of being a business owner in California, and if you have employees, might be contractors on paper, might be employees.
They might be important to look at, and how you define them and how you work with them and communicate to them and manage them, and all of that is dependent on
employment laws, but it can start of what you do.
Laws, there's wage and hour that you have to go into, and then fines because if they don't get paid, file them incorrectly.
We don't know with small businesses, what are some of the laws that you don't have to pay 50, 100 employees and one employee that
effect this year. San Francisco has just passed and has just instituted that request information in a position. There is the law about your employees some sort of tax relief for commuter sick paid leave law. I'm saying that backwards. But it regardless of their full or part-time status, an accrual have to start accruing until a lot of nuances to the law, and a lot of very dicey still on employee. You need to make sure that you're off, regardless of their status. They need to accrue a week. They accrue
in what's going on, that type of what you don't know type thing, but yet as employers, as don't know type thing. So, how can you arm yourself? Continue talking with Sarah about where you might be able to come see her in person very soon. So we'll be back in a few.
Para la escuela, descubre la gama de posibilidades que te ofrece la Universidad John F. Kennedy, que celebra 50 años.
Jurídicos, salud, psicología o tus estudios de posgrado. Tenemos becas y ayuda. Contamos con asesores de admisión que hablan español, disponibles para guiarle a través del proceso de tu solicitud.
Para más información, visita www.5358. con respecto a un caso. Nos especializamos en todas las áreas del derecho migratorio. ¿Quieres conseguir una cosa por hacer? Llama al 477-4445 www.lawyers.com. Son 777-4445 con oficinas en San José, San Calla y Sacramento.
Are you in deportation proceedings? Do you have a friend in jail facing deportation? If the answer is yes, we will find the best Purvis and Vogue at 415-777-444lawyers.com.
If you were ever and you reported it to the police, you may be eligible for
Contact Karosky Purvis at 415-www.kpblawyers.com.
See you in your community. My name is Liz Ramos with Authentic Lifestyle Designs, member of your Hispanic Chamber of Fuzz.
Hello.
Talking about we get giddy about it.
We're HR geeks.
It's as I'm excited about the topic that I forget to can go to and meet Sarah in person. But if you don't want, at her email address, which is Sarah SAR.com altogether. So again, that's Sarah SA, and feel free to send her a note. Sarah, we were discussing that you do some consultations
To start with and see how we might be able to work together.
Awesome. So there you go. The right fit of a team member. It's a critical that your company needs most. And so you'll have some opportunity of being a member of the Hispanic Chamber. And even if you're not a member, series that's part of the membership that you've already paid for. Let me get my notes here in order. I believe it's October, hosted at our chamber offices on Locust. So we hold it in our, and Sarah will be giving the talk this month on this topic, is that handbooks require, for a lot of handbooker, not learning about the different business. So
so during the presentation we'll be talking about the importance of the handbooks, which we touched on in there, and then some things that you want to consider in terms of how to protect your company from theft and how to protect your client lists and with any other type of violence. We'll go through all the different elements of the handbook and walk out with a lot more knowledge.
Register and you see all the different topics that you will walk away with some great knowledge for your employee management. And speaking of, month is going to be focused on, that's happening on October 22nd. It's also in the evening, so 5:30 to 7:30 p.m. And it's going to be at 1630 RSVP. Again, it's a free event for all of our members, and it's only $10 if you're not a member. We're hosting here. I did when I see the word wine. I was looking at a different, more thorough one, but it's an evening affair to buy for our annual membership. Some takeaways from today's overall themes, I kind of like surfaces. So we started with a day in history and lip service, and what kind of culture what happens on what you stronger action stand in versus lip service want to create for your company. And then we talked about some tips, higher quality applicants to any job, the tips that you talked about with the job description.
Making sure that you're talking about not only the technical skills, but also
yeah, exactly. I love that. That's needed. Not just a culture of growth, of development of your staff. What's the do in staying on board and contributing and learning and helping all around, building a culture of collaboration. I think when you take to share her contact info again, because she so generously offered a consultation at EOS eoshr.com. So her business name, eoshr.com. I want to make sure if these are some topics that are of interest or something that you need to address in this fourth quarter for your planning of now, because if you get behind to start for your planning for then you have contractors and you want to make sure that that's truly what they are, because they're not
contractors. So.
It's pretty specific. So we look forward to seeing you at the upcoming business education series on October 22nd. So culture of attracting the best quality employees. So Sarah, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. We look forward to seeing you next week at H5C in your community.